Well, hi and welcome to my shop. Thanks for joining me here. It's August 28th today. I've been in and out of my shop the last week, depending upon weather and other household projects I have to do. But I'm in here today, and my objective is to solve the rather weird problem that has occurred with this record player. I did a video on this one already. I kind of went over the whole thing. And it's ready to go in all respects, except the overarm isn't over what it should be over. So I'm going to examine this more carefully and going to do something to correct this. This has to be corrected for this record player to work. It doesn't even fit in the cabinet this way because the arm is jammed up against a wooden wall here in the way the cabinet's arranged. So I mean, you can't even put it back in like this. I had a heck of a time getting it out with this arm like this, which just raises even more questions about how did it ever get into this state. So let's just be absolutely clear what the state is. Okay, that's as far as it goes that way, and that's where it goes that way. That's the right motion, it's just not in the right place. It's supposed to be over here, of course, swinging over the record. So, the first guess on this is somebody grabbed it and just cranked it over there. Now let's just think about that for a minute. Why would somebody do that? Because the record player is not on. The record player is in a position where the overarm is over here. They want to get the record out. They don't realize they can lift the overarm up and swing it out of the way because they're not familiar with this kind of record player, so they don't know what's going on with it. So they have this stuck. It'd be stuck here. And finally, they just push it out of the way. There's lots of problems with that idea. First is, I think the way this is in here, let me just see if I can make this clear. So, right, so I can't move this over to show how this is really supposed to engage here. Kind of think through it. What's freezing me here is I'm trying to figure out how they got this bent over here with this piece in the middle that interferes with it. If it's over here and it's down where it normally would be with only a record on the platter, if my theory of how this occurred is true, the record on the platter, this arm is over and down in the locked position. I guess that's okay. I guess you could swing this around here. So you could just jam it back and it would just end up like this. Okay, so I don't like the theory. I don't know what else to conclude. Now let's look underneath here. I came in here last night and I did this, so I already know what it is I'm not going to see. So I thought, a sudden flash of inspiration on this yesterday and thought, well, you know what? Let's just take the overarm out. Just take it out. It's easy. It's just a shaft that goes through here. It's just here. Easy. A little retaining lock here. Just remove it. Pop it out. Turn it around, pop it back in. That's probably it. Maybe somebody else popped it out and popped it in wrong and just, I don't know, couldn't figure it out. I don't know. Well, lots of problems with that. First of all, this stopper never stops anything. There's never a time where this drops low enough. There's something else stopping it inside here. But what this did allow me to do is look very carefully in here. And I'm pretty sure what I see in there is the round shaft has been flattened on one edge, and then there's a blade up against it. So the shaft is like this, and there's a blade against it. Now when you rotate the shaft far enough, there's a flattened side, and this blade catches it. Now what exactly happens next, I'm not sure. Either it stops this from going up and down, or it's allowed a mechanism to rotate a little bit further. This is a pretty small motion here, just fraction of a millimeter. So I have the feeling it's just a gripper to stop this thing. But what it tells me, I believe anyway, is that this shaft is in the correct position. This is correct. This is rotated correctly. This is not correct. So that again kind of comes back to somebody forcing it and causing it to pivot here. And so the solution would be me just forcing it back and we're all done. Ta-da! All done is right. It might be all done if I push on this. But I just don't see any other solution except to remove all this. And I'm not even sure how that would help. I know how that would not help. That would probably be the end of this record player. I've never removed all this kind of stuff here, and it never happened. Not gonna happen. So if I want to look, hey, here's something over here that's not quite right. I don't think, is that right? The position of the spring here? Guess it is. Yeah, okay, enough of that. Don't know how a spring would jump to a new position on its own anyway. So let's flip it over now. I'm building up my nerve. I'm also getting my appeal case ready for the owner. I have to say, it wasn't me, it was the record player itself. I had to do it. It's like self-defense or something. Well, maybe I can find out if I can move it a little bit. Now, I pushed on this before. You know, my thinking would be, if this is what happened before, the shaft stayed still and somebody rotated it on the shaft, it would have been kind of broken free and should be easily rotated on the shaft now. And I pushed on it. The impression I got was not broken free, not easily moved on the shaft. A tremendous amount of leverage here. So a person, like when I say I'm pushing hard, I'm actually not pushing that hard here. I know it's pushing hard here because of this huge leverage. So what's the worst that can happen? I push it over, a couple things can happen. The mechanism underneath, there's probably a locking pin sticking out of the shaft, the shaft, and there's a little pin sticking out of it. I rotate it, the pin will bing, break off. Then this arm will be free to go wherever it wants. That's not the end of the world. Next one is this does slip here, and when it does, it becomes forever loose. It falls off. I can always glue it back. I can glue it back. I don't want to break the pin on it. Maybe the guy got away with pushing it this way because the pin is in a strong position. When I push it back, the pin is in a weak position and break off, assuming there's a pin in there. So I figured the pin was in the wrong spot. I figured that this had been somehow pulled out and put back in wrong. Doesn't seem to be the case though. You know what? I can freeze this shaft, so I don't deliver strain down into the mechanism and strain the pin. I can put a vice grip on this and clamp it quite nicely in there. It's a good idea. Let me get my vice grips here and there out in the garage. Okay, here we are. My choice. Which one's going to be good on that shaft? Boy, it's a pretty small shaft, but pretty big tools here. Maybe this guy, in fact. Going right in like that. Now the problem with using these tools is they're going to probably mark up the shaft here a little bit. That's going to work pretty good, I think. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's go in a little ways there. This is where the doctor tells the patient, now, this is going to hurt a little bit. for this tone arm. Oh my god, is that all it is? So I'm looking to see if the shaft is turning there inside it. I think the shaft is turning. Yeah. I didn't get anywhere there. Fooled. Grip it harder. Okay, so I don't think that's going to turn this time. That feels a lot solider. Okay, I'm applying pressure. Wow. You expect it to give right away almost. Oh my gosh. I can't do this anyway. Okay, I'm not straining that much as my voice suggests, okay? That's anxiety coming out of my voice. That's what that is. Okay, so the guy wants to get his record really badly, so he really cranks this arm over. What if it goes the other way? Somehow you got it all. He couldn't. Assuming this record player was in the console, it could only swing to about here. Shaft is in the right place. The overarm must be moved. The overarm had come loose. Had fallen off. Had come loose and come off. And some guy got smart and took epoxy and glued it back on just like I would, right in here. Except when he glued it on and the mechanism was in this position, he glued it on in the wrong position. The overarm was loose, didn't come off, and somebody glued it to make it not be loose. And they glued it in the wrong position. Jeez, if this was all metal, I could heat this up. So what have they done here? They've just taken a plastic piece and somehow they fused it to the overarm and to the shaft. Is it just a big pocket of glue in there? Oh my god. So this is a very strong structure here. You could really reef on this guy. He's got reinforcing underneath here, everything. I could really reef on this. There's no concern with bending this. The shaft itself, you know, unless it turns and I don't realize it, and if the pin is locking, I can check that this way. As long as it's doing this, we're okay. As long as it's here, we're okay. So last time I gripped it more in here, I didn't want all the leverage. So again, worst case scenario, as long as I don't let the shaft rotate, the worst that can happen is this breaks somehow. Breaks. How bad is that? That's bad. That's bad enough. Epoxy can fix anything. This is a high stress, high mechanically stressed area. That's why it's rugged. That's why I can't easily overcome it. So there's probably a similar shaft inside here coming down a bit. Maybe these two shafts are meeting inside this black fitting. Those two shafts are conspiring in there against me. It's one shaft all the way up into here where it's been press fit. Oh my gosh, this piece moves. Oh my gosh. Stop the presses. What am I exposing there? Quickly, everybody. A breakthrough. A breakthrough. I've been waiting for some kind of breakthrough here without breaking it. I don't want to break it. I want to break through it, so to speak. Okay, what do we see in there? let's focus in on this. Okay, so this sleeve would appear to be quite inconsequential. You can see the grip marks I put on there. Wow, really did scratch it up. So it's driven up into here. And that has to be pressed with glue, I would think. I mean, if I were making that, that's what I would do. So that means so if I were to swing this really hard, I might break this. What is it? Okay, so this is metal. This is all metal. Hey, this is all metal. Hey, it's all metal. What am I so afraid of? So how have they done it then? If it's all metal, they've just press fit it. So if that's the case, as I rotate this and break, I'm going to break, this is going to come loose, I think. I could epoxy it afterwards. What am I missing on this? What else am I missing? Wow, you'd have to think any way they make that solid when they manufacture it. Anything you do to twist it is just going to destroy whatever it is that's holding it together in however they've done it. It has to be a press fit, I think. Oh my gosh. I was hoping for some magic idea in the comments on the video I did on this. Somebody would say, hey, you do this, you do that, and bingo, she's fixed. But, no. Okay, well maybe I'm just a chicken again. Let's put the tool back on it in the same spot. We know more of what it is I'm pushing against. It's a metal on metal press fitting, I believe. You know, when you're doing these sort of powerful operations, it's easy to apply power to something by accident, something that's nearby, that something's bumping into, and you're busily transferring the power you're applying to some other thing. And the result of that is bad. Let's push this down here. I want to see any movement at all of that shaft relative to the top. So I'm going to hand, and there we go. So a little bit of He-Man approach here. Put this here. Okay, make sure you push it the right way when you're going to do this, Jim. Don't end up moving. Okay, so now I'm going to apply pressure like a lot, like an enormous amount of pressure. Oh my gosh, I don't know what's happening. Something is turning somewhere. Okay, did the shaft rotate? Anybody see anything happen there? Did we get anywhere? I don't know. I can't tell with this tool on here. Let's go a little further. I don't know if I got anywhere. Let's go. Oh my gosh. I can't believe how hard I'm pushing on this. Oh, everything's all jammed up here. What have I got it jammed up on? Oh, I can't get the tool out. Now we're in trouble. Now we're in big trouble. Yeah. Got absolutely nowhere with it. It's exact. Oh my gosh, if anything, can it be worse? How can it be worse? Am I pushing this the wrong way? How could it possibly be worse? It can't be worse. I'm just imagining it. So what happened there? What happened there? The tool slid on the shaft. That's how much pressure I'm putting on it. Okay. Putting more pressure, I'm going to bend something for sure if I put more pressure on it. Oh my gosh. I'm playing the drums, that means I'm in big trouble here. I just don't know what to do. So this is nothing more than a spacer to keep this thing from dropping too low. That's all that is. What am I missing? What am I missing? Now, I've studied the manual for this. The manual is not helpful for this situation at all. Oh my gosh. I have somebody bent this like 30 years ago, and it's fused itself in the wrong position since then. Twisted it. I shouldn't say bent. Twisted it. I don't see any evidence of anything going on up here. Oh my gosh. This is a deadly problem here for this record player. How could it get into this state? You know, even the theory, let me just change cameras here. The theory of how it got into this state then could maybe be totally wrong. If I were to push one of these arms out of the way, force it out of the way, I would force it just far enough, I think. Hey, look at this. To get the force on it, this has to be all the way over here. Oh, I think I did do something. That looks like a lot more travel. Probably my imagination. This appears to be over just a bit further. So now I'm looking for a little bit of play. It's very hard to tell. I don't think there's any play in here. I don't think there's any. So again, if I were going to push this over, I would push it this far. You can't push it much more than here because there's the wooden wall here. So when you first pick it up, the range of motion is here. So if you don't pick it up, what happens if you don't pick it up? Okay, so if you don't pick it up, the range of motion is there. Oh no, it's this interfering here. I can't tell. So usually when you bring an overarm over and drop it down, it goes down in a certain position. You cannot rotate it without lifting it back up and then rotating it. So the idea is this person rotated it without lifting it up. Why would they not lift it up? Because they didn't know enough. Because they didn't know enough that it would lift up. That would have to be the reason for that. They didn't understand what's going on here. When you lift from the front, you know, the shaft jams in the back and it feels like it can't lift. That's why I'm saying always lift these things from the back. Just reach back here and lift it up. Don't lift it from here. So they get confused, they think it won't go up, they can't get their record out, and what kind of a stupid machine is this? They get more frustrated than me and finally push it. So now, the question is, when it's down, how much limit is there? And I can't find it because this is limiting it. Artificially limiting it. Well, there's that limit. That's quite a bit of movement there. to get another record player and compare it. Is this a hint right here? How about getting this piece out of the way? How about I get this piece out of the way, and maybe then the arm will go all the way around. For all I know. No. I do know. I do know more. It won't. It's not going around. So what if this is a threaded? What if this is a threaded fitting up here, and they've threaded it in? So then, if he pushed it against the shaft and and he unthreaded it, it would come loose. And then when I fiddle with it, I would very quickly pick up on the fact that it was threaded and loose. Threaded kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Okay, what about that little trip lever here? What about this thing? It's a complicated little mechanism doing quite a few little goodies in there. I don't think I want to fool around with this either. Oh! That's a little bit of a surprising motion in it. I'm gonna end up with this thing in the wrong place. How can this influence this guy at all? So whatever it is that's stopping, that's limiting its motion, I cannot see it. I imagine it's a pin. If it's a pin, it can't be permanently trapped in here. See there, smaller motion, and the pin moves into a larger area here and swing farther. Theoretically, you should be able to push this button right out. This is moving up and down as it rotated. What's that all about? I'm looking for the hint. I'm looking for the magic hint that is going to solve this whole matter suddenly. Suddenly. So with it, now this is in the, look, it's upside down, right? So this isn't down, this is up. So what would it matter that it does that in the up position? Because it wouldn't really do that. It's only in the up position because somebody's holding it up there. It can't stay up on its own anywhere. So that's over the record. That's over the record, and then it hits a stop. And then the stop range is much bigger. Why won't this, like they have a locking thing on here? Who needs it? There's some trick to releasing this. Oh, okay, so you're already here. Might as well take a close look. Right in here. So what we're looking at, or what I'm trying to show you, this is how far I got last night when I was in here. This little lever, as soon as I put the screwdriver in, it disappears from view. Get something a little better to point with here. I don't know if this is any better. That little lever there. See that little lever I'm pushing on? That hooks up to this. That doesn't hook up. This is the same piece of metal here. I don't know if we can get in here close enough to really get a good look at this. So what I'm trying to highlight now is that there's a flat side on the shaft that's brought into contact with that little moving lever. And drop the whole kit and caboodle there. Did that fix it? No. No, but it kind of ruined my camera shot here. So that's the part I think that keeps it from what? So there you see the piece is in quite a ways now. Oh, that's interesting. Hey, guess what? Something different has happened. So with this piece tight here, okay, it's caught what I'm sure. Can I see it there? Not so good. There. So that is catching a flat edge, a flattened side, if you like, on this thing. That's locking it in a position. Okay, and the position is, this should be, oh wow, I thought it was kind of locking it. I can't, I got my finger on the piece here, but the leverage is so great I can't hold it. Very powerful leverage in there. And of course, there's nothing working on the overarm. Like no one's hanging on to it while they're playing a record here. The overarm is all by itself. So this little thing here would what the heck just happened? I just moved it. Oh, hold on a second. It's half fixed. Okay, hold on. It's in a new position. Oh, look, hold the horses here. What has happened? Something has happened. I mean, it is a mechanical interlock interference problem. I just made that phrase up. Thought it sounded good. In other words, there's a moment of weakness in the mechanism that opens the door to this kind of thing. Well, we're over farther. Oh, there could be all kinds of stuff. Could be the mechanism here. Not in the right spot. Now it's locked for good. So I think the mechanism is in an unnatural state. So I will pretend to be the record, driving the mechanism here. Apparently I won't be the mechanism. Wait. There we go. Okay, lifting the needle up. Okay, so it detected that the overarm is down. It's a good start. Hey, we're halfway there now. In fact, you know, it's totally different. Now we're whoop. It's still not right here. Don't stop. Just keep going, Jim, with it. Okay, so it was fiddling around with that thing that seemed to get it to move a lot further. Let's go around again. Don't know forward. Thinks it's playing a record this time. Well, let's go back to underneath. We got somewhere last time. Maybe I had interference from the way I've stood the record player on here with the motions. Maybe the motions were limited by not what I thought it was. So with the arm up, in the up position, the full shaft is there. It blocks this lever from coming over. It blocks this from coming in. With the lever down all the way, so this is now allowed to come over. This is allowed to come over and engage with that. That's and this guy here, he's also in a stupid position, I think. A little stopper right there. Oh boy, you can almost get past it. Something got past something. It's all getting past me. That's what's happening. Oh, now it's on. Just yeah, it swings out. I don't know. I was having luck fiddling here. I should fiddle more. Let us fiddle more. What is stopping it? What could possibly be stopping it at its stoppers? That I cannot see at all. So, you know, if it's a pin, the pin is a little hard to believe because the pin, to get in there, the pin has to come down through this whole shaft. How can there be a pin in there? The pin is up near the top here, maybe. If there's a pin on the shaft, there has to be a way for the pin to get into here. There has to be something going on the shaft. You know what? There's a pin slot here. There's a pin slot. A what? Just made that one up too. Pin slot. Okay, let's flip it over and take a look at the newly named pin slot. Okay, so if I were a pin on a shaft, I would want a slot. I think that's the slot right there. Let's take a look and see what we can see there. Okay, I think something interesting comes into view here in the pin slot. There it is. That's the pin. See, it's bent. Appears to be bent just terribly. Well, that's why I can't get it out. It's bent. It looks like if I force it this way, it will straighten up. This pin is supposed to come right up on top. This pin is supposed to come out. I think. Certainly supposed to come up. It's supposed to come up. Wow. How am I going to straighten that out? So it looks like one way I can just put a lot of pressure on this arm, and it would straighten that pin out. That's a big pin, man. That's a big one. Oh my gosh. I just got a little better focus on it there. So the tip of it that's banging now is what's keeping the overarm from going over. If I could lift it up just a little higher, that pin would come out. Wow. So the pin is bent a long distance in here. And it looks to me the only way to bend it back is to literally just force the arm back on it. It's a very powerful pin. I might be able to get it far enough that I can get it out without re-injuring the whole thing. Okay, so I'm gonna pull it. We're gonna watch the pin. I'm gonna apply pressure on it here, and we'll watch what the pin does. You know what? The pin is rotating in its holder. Look at this. So this is now the proper height. For the first time, the pin emerges from the pin slot. And what's holding it now is probably the retaining. It is. Okay, it took me a long time, but I found it finally. Wow. Okay, so I'm going to pop off the E. Pop off the E. Here. This is not the easiest one to get off. Oh yeah. It's gonna go right up under my fingernail. I'm gonna be a happy camper after that. So I don't really have a tool to pop this guy off here. I think it's gonna go flying. If this doesn't hurt me 6 different ways, I don't know what will. Okay, I can get up with a pin. Whoops, underneath it now. As always, the tool you need at the moment you need it is not there. This might do it. Pin. How about this? It's taken me way too long to assess this thing and find the problem with it. But you know, that's what happens the first time. Next time around, wow, I'll be on this one. I'll be on this kind of problem right away. Come on, man. Let's keep it on there. What frustrates me is the small, simple things that end up being not simple. And that's where the frustration for me personally comes from. Anything I do where I say, oh, this will just take a moment, seriously, think it's going to just take a moment. And then it takes longer That really it's going to drop right out. Jeepers creepers. Unbelievable. I'm going to cut it, I just want to get a grip on it. There, I got it off. Let's not lose this one. Put it right up here. Everybody remember where I put it? Here we go. There it is. Oh my gosh, look at how bent that is. Oddly enough, it's as solid as can be. So just bend that back. A lot of metals, you know, you bend them once, okay. Bend them twice, no, not okay. What other options do I have? One is to cut this right off. I think this pin is involved with kicking this lever here. So that little blocker arm must be right in the hole now. The one that goes in the little slot here. So this arm comes up, rotated this way. The pin pushes here and rotates this out of the way. So these go together. That way there's nothing over the record when it's time to remove the record. This is the 12-inch sensor, by the way. When the 12-inch record drops, it kicks this over, and then the mechanism knows it's a 12-incher. So this pin is really quite critical to making this whole thing work conveniently. I mean, it'll still work. You can do away with this. This thing will still work. Won't be much fun. So I think clearly the first deal here is try to bend the pin. Is the pin really screwed in there with threads? I wonder if we can see a hint of threads in the back there. Let's take a look and see if that's the case. Well, just on the basis that the more observations you make, the better chances you have of getting things right, or maybe more importantly, not messing stuff up. Let me max out the focus here. Get up as close as we can. So, are there any threads in there? Well, oh, yes there are. Okay, now, is there a chance the position that the pin is in that position because it's rotated on its own threads? Oh yes, look at that, I just rotated it. I need it in there. Let's get this out. Let's do something stupid here. This pin is replaceable. Well, I can't see anything more to do except put a tool on it and crank it. Crank it over. I can grab the shaft in here so it won't rotate, and then just bend this guy over and just try to use the best tools on it. So let's give that a start. You know, it's a pretty stocky piece of metal here. This is designed to not bend. This is its intention. Let's make that pin so nothing will bend it. And here it is bent. It's because of this tremendous leverage out here. I mean, look at this pin up against this pin. Oh my gosh, look who would win. Thank God I didn't break this part here. And now I'm gonna try these big guys here. This is like a machinist tool. And if you look, you'll see where they. First of all, look, I've showed this before. It's always parallel. That's kind of great. And then right in the end, you see it has a little hole there, or opening there. That's for gripping around things. Like this. My musculature already. Yeah, this might go easy. What's happening? What's happening is I'm not gripping it successfully here. Oh no, I've got no grip on this compared to what it needs. So, vice grips. Here they are. Use these needly nosed ones. Something's going somewhere. The pin is bending. No, it's just what I was afraid of. She broke right off. Broke right off. Pin is gone. Pin done. Yeah. Darn it, darn it, darn it, darn it. Well, that was almost a guaranteed event. Lots of one-way metals in this world. What do we got now? Now we got an overarm that's going to go everywhere. She's a wild one. No pin to trigger this back. And chances of finding a pin, you know, now getting that out of there is kind of a battle too. Maybe it was kind of dumb. Maybe I should have unscrewed it before I broke it. So, hey, I'm going to break this. I'll better unscrew it first. Well, it's not the end of the world by any means. Okay, where did I put that? Right in the secret spot. So secret, you never even knew where I put it. I'm going to put this guy back on. The maneuver number 5. Okay, this goes well, everything's fine. This doesn't go well. I'm hunting for a clip. It went well. This cannot fall out, but it is unrestricted. He's unrestricted. So that's kind of a drag. Definitely a drag. It will be a little bit restricted actually when this piece here calls for it to lock. Right, like, well, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I fixed it and broke it at the same time. Okay, there's a combination. You should look at that thing. Well, it's pretty loose now. Look at that. It's a wire grabbing thing. Whew, it's a wild one. In terms of listening to a record, this doesn't mean a thing. This just has no bearing on listening to the actual record. So we can't be too upset about the situation. Considering where we started, oh my gosh, that's really crummy. Pretty crummy. Platter, please. Okay. And the dropping mechanism here. Seems just fine. You put these in and you turn them until they fall into place, like that. A lucky break right in there. And now we need a record. Yeah, how about this piece of junk foot in cold water record? Where is it? What did I do with it? Oh, I don't have a record in. Okay, I gotta go get a record. We need a record. Okay, so we're gonna try a little bit of Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan Desire. Where do I begin? On the heels of a rimbald moving like a dancing bullet through this, whatever that is. 1975, that's what I was looking for. Okay. I'm not exactly a Bob Dylan fan, but Bob Dylan, of course, another extremely important figure in the history of music, which we are all living through all the time. I don't recognize any of those songs. Okay, let's try side 2, Joey. Now, this is what it's going to be like to operate this record player. Put that over, you do that. Be interested to see what happens to this arm once the record drops. Oh, okay, so we need some power. Oh, I gotta hook up that. Gotta get some power together here and whatnot. Okay, so I got the audio plugged in from the cartridge right into the video sound system, so you should hear it. It's not going through a microphone. And I think we're ready. Put it on 33. Oh, power. Got to turn the power on. Oh, there goes the wheel. That's pretty darn slow. What is happening there? Something really bad happening there. Appears to be running at 16. I'm sure that's slow. I do have some speed cards I can check. So that indicates the speed adjustment thing may be a little out. I don't know. It just needs a bit of exercise. 16. So we go from 16 to 33. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about that. Now, well, let's get to the end of the record here. I may trigger the velocity sensor anytime when I'm doing this. a little light. Okay, I had to help it along there. Just the tracking force isn't sufficient. The arm is down. It should shut off. Ha ha. Now the question is, when the arm is up, and somewhere over here, because you know what, it'll come over. It'll bang against the side of the cabinet. That's fine. Beautiful. Sitting up here now. Let's repeat that. I just put this on manual. And we'll just take it over and we'll just trigger it right away. We'll trigger the velocity sensor. There it goes. This time it should start again. Only it'll think it's a 10-inch record. Okay, it thinks it's a 45. That's because this lever didn't get knocked. But I wanted to see it play again because that's what it should do. The overarm stuck up. So, you know, it's not the best solution here that we have gotten into. You know, what's left of the pin is still holding the arm up. There's another whole solution. That was just to cut off the part of the pin. Bingo. But the pin is not long enough to stop its motion here. But, okay, that's fine. You know what? That's not bad. Now, what about the sound? What kind of sound did we get out of that? There's some pretty crummy sounding sound. Crummy sounding sound. Let us listen to that just again a little bit. Oh. Maybe we should tighten this up. Now, kind of weight. So that's pretty light. I'm going to guess that's a gram. That's pretty light. Entered out behind the lines. Now this isn't the best record maybe to do this with. With a shackle on your hand. A shackle on your hands. Oh. I think I had the levels up too high for the video. I apologize for that. What I'm hearing in my headphones may be a little different. Let me just play a little more here now. Watch the levels better. Slowly sank. The loser finally. That's not bad. That doesn't sound too bad. In my headphones here. I mean, it's really what it's going to sound like in the console. That really counts. And on that issue, the console that this record player came out of is 42 feet long. It's like the biggest console I've ever seen. It's not 42 feet long, but it's really long. So bringing it in here to try to work on it it's impossible. So I think what I'll probably have to do is take this out, put it into the console, turn the whole thing on. It's a monster vacuum tube, hi-fi stereo from the late 60s, early 70s, among the very last hi-fi vacuum tube type stereos. It's got it's got two three-way speakers, crossovers, all that kind of stuff. So I think it's a real high fidelity beast. And it's out in my garage, and I'm not going to bring it in here, although it may come in pieces. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this out, drop it into the there's nothing more I can do with it now. Drop it in the console, hook it up, and thrill my neighbors with what it sounds like at that point. And then from there I'll decide what to do with that. If anything more. There may be nothing more to do with this console. So I don't know. We'll see. Thanks for watching, and one way or another, I got this record player kind of fixed. See ya.